Imagine you and your family are getting tricked into moving to North Korea. Masahi Ishikawa was born in 1947 in Japan to a Japanese mother and a Korean father. His father always struggled with living in Japan as a foreigner and identified strongly as a Korean. He was one of the very first people to fall for the so-called repatriation program by the General Association for Koreans Living in Japan. What they did was telling Koreans in Japan that North Korea was quote-unquote paradise, where they would find jobs and everything they wanted. The Japanese Red Cross and the North Korean Red Cross were both involved in the logistic and operations of that program. Whew! The ships departed from Niigata in Japan to Chongjin in North Korea. They were promised they could return at any time they wanted. But in reality, return was basically impossible once they entered the ship. They also had to sign papers that once going through this process, they will give up all of their rights of being inhabitants in Japan. Once the ship arrived in the port of Chongjin, people realized that this was not a glorious place to live. The port was basically a ghost port. There were rusty ships all around them, and they were greeted by an orchestra of North Korean schoolgirls with fake phony smiles wearing thin jackets in the middle of winter. Not only had a bunch of people on the boat tossed their Japanese papers, some of them had even traveled without any luggage because they had been promised that they will be given everything they need. Ishikawa and his family lived in North Korea under extreme poverty and hunger. Masahi Ishikawa escaped by crossing the Yalu River in 1996. He was 49 at that time. Left behind his wife and 3 children. Tried to bring them to Japan later, but of course North Korea refused. Ishikawa lives in Japan to this day, but has never seen his wife and 3 children again.